If you're a small business in the United States, there's a massive contracting opportunity waiting for you. And guess what? It's not with the federal government. California is a great example of this concept. California's state and local agencies award billions of dollars in contracts every year through programs like CMAS, IDIQs, vendor pools, and traditional RFQs and RFPs. And this is a great way to get into government contracting. In this video, I'm going to break down how Service Operations Group, a service-disabled, veteran-owned small business in Sacramento, California, is setting itself up to win those contracts step by step, and how you can follow the same strategy to grow your business with government contracts. First off, you got to build a strong foundation. Eric, the owner of Service Operations Group, started where every California contractor or anybody in the United States should start, with structure and certification. He registered as a C Corp and secured his Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise certification with California, as well as his Service-Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business certification with the federal government. That certification and the federal one immediately puts him in play for small business set-asides across California and also federal agencies. Once you get that set up, you got to figure out where buyers search. How am I going to get in front of them? So you get that visibility. And with Eric, he listed his company on Cal eProcure, also SAM.gov, and on some other sites like Planet Bids. These are the main databases contracting officers actually use from both the federal government and also the state government to find you, contractors. Make sure, and this is a key part, make sure your listings are complete and searchable. Use NIGP codes on Cal eProcure and for most states and local procurement sites, and NAICS codes on SAM.gov. And always, this is just going to hack as you grow. Create a dedicated email inbox just for bids and your proposals so that you have an easier way to expand and make sure more people have access as you grow. Once the solicitations start rolling in and the proposals start going out, you're going to need this. When you get this finally, now you're going to be going after those vendor pools, those schedules. You need to get your foot in the door. So once you're visible, the next move is to get inside the system that already has work flowing. Think vendor pools, think IDIQs, think state or federal schedules. And here's what that all means. Vendor pools and IDIQs. IDIQ, by the way, is Indefinite Delivery, Indefinite Quantity, are umbrella contracts where agencies or primes already have approved funding. By joining these teams that are already on these contracts or yourself getting on one, you don't have to wait for open bids that you compete with the whole entire world for. You simply compete for task orders under existing awards. And by the way, sometimes you can even sell into the government directly on this award without waiting for the government to reach out with a task order. That's something that is very, very important to reduce the friction inside of the sales process. When you get to the state level, there are certain states that have something similar to GSA schedules. California is one of those. They have CMAS. This lets you sell directly to departments in California that using pre-negotiated rates. And this, once again, cuts out a lot of the friction in the government sales process. Your long-term look, though, is with the federal government. And because of that, you always want to think about, what do I need to do to get on the GSA schedule? The smart play is this: start local with CMAS if you're in California, partner as a subcontractor in IDIQs or vendor pools, and grow towards your GSA schedule as your past performance builds. Now you got these things together, and you got to do the next thing that every single business needs to think about. You need to build business credit early. Before you chase those larger contracts, your company has to look financially reliable, and that starts with credit. Step one, this is a way to do it. Set up your DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. That's going to allow them to be able to track your company's credit history. Next, take out a small revolving loan. I personally recommend QuickBooks Working Capital loans because they always report back to the credit rating agencies. Not everybody does that, by the way. They only report back the bad stuff, not the good stuff. So you don't get credit for the good stuff. You only get dinged for the bad stuff. What you're going to then do is you're going to let that loan sit for a month, pay the interest, and then pay it off immediately. Repeat it a few times. Think of it, by the way, like running up your score in Vegas, if you guys have ever done that, and your D&B report will start showing positive payment activity. This is important because there are contracts that you will have to have either a CPA audit showing that you have financial stability, or sometimes some agencies will accept what's called the Dun & Bradstreet Credit Monitoring Report. This is what you're working for so that you have it if you need it. Now, once that's reporting and you're getting into this, apply for a line of credit. QuickBooks Loan, once again, is a great place to be able to go. This is going to report good behavior, and on the QuickBooks side, it doesn't actually charge any access fees. Then, once you start getting this going, because it'll take a little bit, move up to an SBA cap line or express line of credit to manage those 30, 60, 90-day government payment delays. And by the way, not just government, a lot of places don't mean net, actually get net. Getting this in place keeps your cash flow steady and proves you're a trustworthy contractor. You get this set up, and what are you doing all along the way? You're networking. Your finances are handled. You need to focus on building those relationships. Eric, by the way, is connecting with DVBE coordinators inside of California and joining prime contractor vendor days hosted by firms like KPMG, PwC, other medium and also large businesses. These introductions, your focus is on leading them to subcontracting roles. This is a faster, lower risk way to gain experience, by the way, revenue. You need to scale at a certain point in time, and scaling can cost money. Before you think about spending all that money, especially on your internal corporate type of activities you need to do, think about how you can do this. And one of the ways I recommend is a Skill Bridge program. Now, what is that? Well, the Skill Bridge program is out of the Department of Defense. Lets active duty service members work for private companies, many of them for up to 6 months. It's fully paid by the military. And by the way, it's illegal for you to pay them. It's an incredible way to bring on disciplined talent once you've got steady contracts. And it's a great way to give back so that these men and women getting out of the military have jobs lined up, whether they're with you or whether they're experienced with you and their experience in the military helps them get another job. And by the way, we're not just talking about low-ranking individuals. There are some very high-ranking individuals who've done 20, 22 years, really know the system, who you can bring in on the SkillBridge program. So whether you're a service-disabled veteran-owned small business like Service Operations Group, or you're just starting your contracting journey, focus on vendor pools, focus on CMAS, focus on GSA to build that momentum. Get your credit solid and network your way into opportunities. If you want to see exactly how to apply for a California CMAS or GSA schedule, subscribe. That full walkthrough is on our next video. Stay tuned.